tens, maybe hundreds of millions of Americans who thoroughly enjoy TikTok look at Steven Crowder and go, wow, that guy called for more big government laws to censor my free speech right to enjoy TikTok, which is run in America by an American company separate from the parent company in China. Would you be comfortable with that scenario playing out?
In this video, Steven Crowder joins Piers Morgan on his show, Piers Morgan Uncensored. Steven Crowder and Piers Morgan discuss freedom of speech, specifically as it pertains to TikTok. With that, let's watch Steven Crowder take Piers Morgan to school on the dangers of TikTok and the First Amendment.
This, my final point on this,
Okay.
on TikTok, would you be comfortable, you, Steven Crowder, with all the reputation you've built up for certain points of view, would you be comfortable if ultimately the government, the United States government, takes action in the way that you would like it to, and as a consequence, China pulls the plug on TikTok, and tens, maybe hundreds of millions of Americans who thoroughly enjoy TikTok look at Steven Crowder and go, wow, that guy called for more big government laws to censor my free speech right to enjoy TikTok, which is run in America by an American company separate from the parent company in China. Would you be comfortable with that scenario playing out?
Well, first off, that is such a loaded scenario that it would be tough to say which part, which I agree.
It's the inevitable consequence of what you're planning.
The Communist Chinese Party cannot have a golden share interest in TikTok because you have misused it. We already know you've misused it, so you've got to start playing by the rules. And they say that we're going to take our tiny little ball back to our house and go home. Yeah, I would be fine with that. I just think you need to play by the rules.
Steven Crowder, I want more big government laws. I want more censorship.
I thought you were past this. Aren't you starting your own platform? Come on, don't.
Are you not uneasy about the way this is going?
What was that?
You're not uneasy about this potential headline?
I'm not. I stand by completely, but that's not what I said.
From the king of free speech, or whatever you want to call yourself, the CEO of free speech, to the CEO of censorship.
You are into the royalty, aren't you? Get over it.
I think you'd make a good prince, actually. You would make a good king. Kings are reserved for people like me.
Sleep with my relative?
No, it's actually your name. It's not very kingly. It'd have to be someone like Piers. Piers is old English.
It's not very kingly, and my blood is still red. I don't have the blue. I don't think I do.
There's a reason we've never had a King Steve. It's just not. It's not going to happen.
That's fair. We could agree on that.
Can we agree?
I won't speak for Steven Crowder, but personally, I am not for censorship of any kind whatsoever. However, concerns about TikTok are not just about free speech at all. I don't think anyone is suggesting that Americans don't have the right to post what they want on TikTok. I'm personally not a TikTok user, but I haven't heard that ever being an issue. I apologize if I'm telling you all stuff that you already know about TikTok, but just in case there's anybody that doesn't, the concerns around TikTok is that their parent company, ByteDance, out of Beijing, has told the American people that, yes, we collect data on users, but we don't access it. You have nothing to worry about. And that's been unequivocally proven false. So misuse of people's personal data is concern number one, of U.S. citizens' personal data. Number two, you might have heard Steven use the term golden share, and that the Chinese government has a golden share in ByteDance. Golden share meaning they purchased 1% of TikTok, so they own 1% of the company, which allows them a board seat. So the Chinese government has direct influence on TikTok, and that influence has already been seen as there's evidence that pro-Chinese agenda content has been pushed to U.S. users to sculpt the narrative that they want, or to influence Americans' decision making. So I don't think this is a free speech issue whatsoever. And in my humble opinion, China is our greatest adversary on the world stage right now. Giving them sensitive information on American citizens on a silver platter is very scary to me. But let's see what else Piers and Steven have to say about this. Let's get back to the video.
About this, we talked about Alex Jones last time. In the last few weeks alone, since he was restored to X, and my criticism of Elon Musk led to him cancelling an interview with me before it even happened, because he objected to mild criticism of him doing a U-turn on that decision to bring back Alex Jones. But I think I've been vindicated by some of the insanity that Jones has been posting on X in the last few weeks. He posted a video of the terror attack in Moscow with the words "NATO strikes." Another headline based on one of his posts: globalist Macron plans Ukrainian false flag to launch World War III. Another video entitled "World Population Declines for First Time in Centuries as Globalist Culling Operation Continues to Accelerate." I mean, all of this, as you know, and as I know, and as Alex Jones knows, and this is the pertinent point, is complete and utter invented baloney and not based on anything even close to resembling fact. Is it right? I mean, you want to protect American interests. Is it right that you have somebody like Jones with the massive platform that he has, which you know he abused so badly with Sandy Hook families, he was ordered to pay $1 billion, right?
I don't know that.
What, that he abused Sandy Hook families?
I will go with you on everything, except I don't know that Alex Jones knows, and I don't know that he horrendously abused his platform. I just want to make sure that I'm clear as to what
let me explain what I mean by that.
I don't agree with what he said.
Okay, let me clarify. I would say that by the way he went about targeting the families of the Sandy Hook victims, in my view, is one of the most despicable, deliberate defamations I've ever seen. Hence the $1 billion plus payout, which he so far failed to, I think, even pay $1. But the consequences of what he did there to generate vast personal wealth by pouring misery, fuel onto the misery of those families, I think was unconscionable and should have been why Elon Musk, when he originally was asked about it and said he wouldn't let people who stood on the graves of dead children be on the platform, I thought he was right the first time.
As far as Alex Jones in general, from the first time I ever heard him, I thought this guy's a little bit off his rocker, and he makes some outrageous claims. And I'd say the vast majority of them never really materialize or ever have any facts to back them up. However, some outrageous claims that he's made in recent years that were thought of as complete wacko conspiracy theories, even to people probably listen to him. And people like me, I just thought he was kind of a character. I didn't hate him or like him, or I was just kind of indifferent. But, things that I thought were complete goofy conspiracy theories actually in recent years have proven to be true. And I want to be real careful with what I say here, because Alex Jones was convicted in both of defamation and infliction of emotional distress on the victims of the Sandy Hook massacre, which I believe, and please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, I believe he claimed was a false flag operation. I have complete empathy for anyone who had lost a child and were harassed or verbally attacked or anything beyond that by any of Alex Jones' followers. I think that's awful, and I don't condone ever going after people on the internet because you heard some information from a, whatever you call them, influencer or whatever. But there's this other side of me that feels like, as insane as and wacky as a lot of Alex Jones theories are, I just said previously that I don't support any kind of censorship. So as long as it's not a call to action to hurt other people, I think he can say whatever he wants. And maybe that's the conclusion that Elon Musk came to when, as Piers says, he changed course and had initially said he wasn't going to let Alex Jones back on X, but then changed his mind and decided to allow him to return. Bottom line, anybody who was negatively affected by Alex Jones' followers through harassment or verbal abuse or whatever you want to call it, I genuinely have empathy for. A family who's lost their children has enough emotional healing to do without, piling on. But I do believe in freedom of speech, and whether you're on the left or the right or whoever, I'll always stand up and say you're free to say whatever you want, even if it's quote unquote disinformation or misinformation, which are two words I hate because I feel like they were only introduced when Donald Trump got into politics, and they're just words that the liberal mainstream media created to discredit Donald Trump. And who decides what is disinformation or misinformation? And what if someone in completely good faith is spreading information online and they genuinely believe it to be true, but it turns out that they're incorrect? Is that misinformation or disinformation, or did the person just get it wrong if they genuinely had no motive to influence anyone incorrectly? I think the answer is no. It might be inaccurate information, but misinformation and disinformation, and I don't know the legal definitions, but to me, they have a connotation of like what CNN and MSNBC do all the time. There's an intent behind what you're saying to change people's opinions on topics with information you know is false. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Anyway, we won't get into that particular debate again, but given
you just did it. You just did it for a minute and a half.
I'm talking about why I had the falling out with Elon about it. But in terms of the recent headlines based on his post, have you revised your opinion at all about whether it is right that people like Alex Jones are allowed to do this to big audiences on things like X, given they're spouting what I think is complete deliberate nonsense designed to make money?
See, there's the word right there. Deliberate. And you and I both know that you're familiar with defamation laws, libel, and slander. And someone can say whatever they want if they believe it to be true. Now, I don't know. That's the one thing that I said. I don't know that Alex Jones would know this to be untrue. I disagree with what you've just, of course, I can't see what it is that you brought up. I've never maintained a position that I agree with Alex Jones on everything. I don't. But here's the beauty. First off, deliberate is key. If he's deliberately lying, that's different. And there's a law against that, right? If he's deliberately defaming an individual.
You think he genuinely thinks that NATO launched that terror attack on Moscow?
I know Alex Jones, and I believe it's very likely.
Well, you think he genuinely believes it?
Saying, this is clearly has the marks from NATO all over. This is what's happening, and they're putting chemicals in the water that are turning amphibians into asexual anamorphic beings. I've seen the papers. I believe that he probably believes it, and I don't necessarily agree with everything he says. I'm not in the business of doing that. But here's one thing I am in the business of doing. Let me finish.
If he didn't believe it, what would you think?
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
Important that you and I are able to discuss it. What happened before is what I believe to be completely unacceptable, where Alex Jones, because of 10 people on one conference call, said his point of view will not be permitted, and so we can misrepresent it for him. You disagree with what he said based on what you're telling me. I disagree with his position, but the fact that we are able to combat it with better ideas or better information is far better for society. And by the way, the alternative is far more dangerous. We've seen it at work. If these people, and by these people, I mean the progressive left, would have their way, not only Alex Jones, yours truly, you eventually, Joe Rogan would be gone. When you have members of the administration deliberately calling for censorship of individual programs,
what about this
platforms,
okay,
that is far more terrifying than someone saying something.
The same Alex Jones.
I think Stephen just said much more articulately what I was trying to say previously, which is that it's my understanding that libel cases, it's always been my understanding that they're very hard to prove because it's very difficult to prove that the person was knowingly saying incorrect things about the individual filing the lawsuit. And like Steven Crowder, I believe Alex Jones is a little nutty, and that even the things that inflicted harm on those Sandy Hook families, if I was forced to make a choice, I would guess that he actually believed what he was saying. I am not saying whatsoever that I agree with him. Just talking about from a legal standpoint, I think he believed what he was saying. And the crazy headlines that Piers just read, I think it's probably likely. Again, don't know Alex Jones, don't know for sure, don't listen to him regularly, but just from what I do know of him, I think he believes those things to be true. As far as TikTok, I have no interest in restricting anyone's ability to speak freely in the United States. However, TikTok's relationship with the Chinese government, who has a stake in the company, the fact that they've lied and said they weren't misusing data of American citizens, and it's been proven that they have, and the fact that they've been disseminating Chinese propaganda to American citizens is very, very concerning. So I don't want to come down hard on a position one way or the other. I haven't really thought of it recently. My instinct is if TikTok was banned, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But, I'm curious to know. Please let me know in the comments. And if I'm way off base here, I'll completely accept that because, like I said, I haven't recently given this a lot of thought. And I think I need to do more research to make as educated a decision as I can as to my position on the topic. And finally, Steven Crowder is right. And this really scares me. The progressive left, look how they treat X right now. They act like it is just a hate-filled platform purely for the fact that it's not suppressing right-wing voices or suppressing ideas that they don't like it was under previous ownership. And they make no bones about the fact that they believe there should be censorship online. So if you boot Alex Jones off of social media platforms, it's a slippery slope, man. It's just like everything with the left wing. If you give them an inch, they take a mile. If Elon Musk tomorrow were to ban Alex Jones on Twitter, that wouldn't be close to enough for the left wing. They would want more and more and more. I think it's a bad precedent to set that people are ever censored on social media or otherwise for any type of speech other than a call to action to harm somebody. But we want to hear from you about this conversation between Steven Crowder and Piers Morgan. What do you think about TikTok, the potential of it getting banned from the United States, its relationship with the Chinese government, the fact that it's disseminated Chinese propaganda, and the fact that they have access to sensitive information on American citizens? Let us know. Anyway, as always, we really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.